Hello, and welcome to Get In, We're Going Healing, a place where we talk about mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual well-being to help you learn to let go of the things that are holding you back from being your best, your greatest, your most authentic you. My name is Tova, and I'll be your guide. Excuse me. So we're going to do a new segment today called Witch Talk. And this is something people have been asking me lately to share some of the stuff that I know. I've been a practicing witch since probably about 1996. Off and on. I took hiatuses, little bits, struggled with my belief system, a lot of different stuff with that. And over time, I have come back to my beliefs. So I wanted to do a little segment on Samhain. We are very fast approaching Samhain. Samhain is also Halloween, is the standard name for it. But Samhain would be the witchy name for it. Samhain, it's spelled kind of Samhain, Samhain. But it is pronounced Samhain, and it looks like my puppy is going to come visit while I do this discussion. Hi, Ruby-Doo. We're going to bring her in the camera. Hi, Ruby-Doo. When you do baby. Troublemaker is what she is. All right, so Samhain is on October 31st, and it is pronounced Sow, as in cow. It's the witch's new year. I'm just going to read from the notes that I have, and I'll share my thoughts on it. It is the old Celtic feast of the dead. Some may call it the final festival, while others call it the first. I use Samhain as my first ritual of the year. Samhain marks the end of the third and final harvest and is also a day to commune and remember the dead. It is a celebration of the eternal cycle of reincarnation. Samhain is named after either Samana, the Aryan god of death, or from the Irish Gaelic word, and I'm totally going to butcher this, I apologize, Samhaidred, which literally means summer's end. Not only does Samhain mark the end of summer, but it also marks the beginning of winter and the official new year. On the night of Samhain, the old god dies, and the crone goddess mourns him deeply for the remaining 6 weeks of his death. A good thing to note here is that Samhain is not associated with evil or negativity, nor was it ever. It was always a day to remember those who have passed. So a lot like Dios de los Muertos, right? Where are we? On the night of Samhain, the old god dies and the crone goddess mourns him deeply for the remaining 6 weeks of his death. It was always a day to remember those who have passed. On this night, witches still leave soul cakes at crossroads for dead ancestors, and it is a custom which has evolved into two things: giving food to the homeless and giving candy to trick-or-treaters. In ancient times, it was believed that if the right offerings and sacrifices were not made, the spirits of the dead would take advantage of the opening of the seam between the world of the living and the dead to come and do harm and mischief to the living, hence the trick-or-treat tradition. In ancient times, it was believed that if the right offerings and sacrifices were not made, the night still retains its threatening air, but not of unhappy ancestors, but of hungry, cold winter storms. Samhain is the true beginning of the wheel of the year, the season of death. To celebrate this magical time, fires are lit on seed fairy mounds, in which the spirits are said to live prior to crossing over. Samhain was both a night of death and rebirth. Celtic tradition says that all who die each year must wait until Samhain to cross over to the Summerland, which is the spirit world, where they will begin their new lives. At this moment of crossing, the little people, fairies, appear. Some are there to help show the way to the Summerland. Still others play and make mischief. This is why fires are lit on seed. So just a little note about the traditions of Samhain. So how I traditionally celebrate Samhain, I usually cast a circle. I am more in the Wiccan tradition, is where I was originally trained and understood. I have since moved into more eclectic, a little bit more shamanistic, a little bit more of everything, lots of different changes. But I still do follow a lot of my Wiccan belief systems. And that would be casting a circle. So you walk a circle. that creates a boundary of energy between you and the spiritual world. You walk it 3 times. And then I like to say at the end of 3 times, 3 times round the circle bound, evil sink into the ground. And then I like to hammer the ground with my fist at that spot as a closing to the circle. And then I call in my quarters. So that would be your different directional points, north, south, east, or west. And my actual favorite version of calling in the quarters honestly derives from a little bit from the craft, where I call upon the watchtowers of the elements. I call upon the watchtowers of the north element of earth, and then go each one north, south, east, or north, east, south, and then west, clockwise. You can go counterclockwise if you prefer. Widdershids, I believe, is the correct term for that. I prefer to go clockwise. It's up to preference. Depends on what you're using it for. Some people are real sticklers about the direction. I'm not really so much. Intent, I think, matters more than the specifics. So I call in my quarters, and then I call in my ancestors. This is a good time to do magical work. I do actually have an altar. Let me flip it here. I do have my ancestral altar set up with images of my ancestors, stag horns, my skull, personal effects of those who have passed, an offering bowl. I will bring down a traditional offering of tobacco, which is common among the indigenous people. We put down a gift of tobacco. And so I will, on Samhain, I will be calling my ancestors to come forth and share information with me, share blessings with me, share knowledge with me, break bread with me, and just to enjoy the evening with me and to cross over. Some of the ideas that I like come from Coco, the Disney Pixar movie Coco, where they have the ofrenda and learn more about why you bring gifts to the dead and put out food for Dios de los Muertes. I like to take a little bit from that as well. There's not one specific way I do it, but there's some stuff about Samhain. It's a good time for you to look at what you want to end as you move into the new part of the year. So we're going to move into the dead part where there is nothing growing. Everything is stagnant and dead. The growing time begins in the spring, but this is the stagnant part of the year where things start to go into the death season, the rebirth season, the under the ground hibernating to come out something different season, deep into the darkness season. So this is our end of year. This is our going into the darkness. If that's something that you're really digging, you may want to check out my next class. My next meditation class is on November 10th. I am going to be doing a descent into the darkness. We're going to be delving into our demons. If you've been watching K-pop Demon Hunters like I am, like I've been doing a lot of, understanding our patterns and our demons and our shame and our misery and the parts of ourselves that we send into exile because we maybe don't get them so much. We're going to be delving into that. We're going to be digging in and finding some of those parts and bringing them back and showing them love and compassion and care and realizing that our demons aren't really so bad. They're just misunderstood. I know it's a common trope, but it's true. It's true. Our demons are just misunderstood. So it's time to start doing that work. If that's something that you're into, be sure to check out the link below. You can find the sign up for that class. Spaces are limited, so if that's something you're into, I highly suggest you do that. That is in person. If you are not in the local area, that will be available on the channel afterwards as something you can go back and check out. Be sure to keep an eye out for it. Until next time, guys, happy Samhain. Bye.